Every single person who has ever done anything worthwhile or exceptional or difficult or extraordinary, anyone, whether it's great artists or authors or mathematicians or whatever it is, everyone encounters difficulties. There is no easy road. It does not exist. It is impossible. Everyone has issues. If you have time to pursue a hobby, if you have time to do anything in your life, you can better yourself. And here's one way you never better yourself. When you come up with excuses for why other people are successful and you're not, that is dangerous. When you give yourself an escape, yeah, well, that's easy for you to say, you do this, you do, and trust me. Everybody has a hard road. I wanted to jump out a window several times during my young life. I wanted to jump in front of a train, just ended because it's too much pressure. Not really, but you know what I'm saying, theoretically. We all go through hard times. We all go through depression. We all go through doubt and moments in your life where it's really difficult and you're trying to figure out what your path is going to be. It's hard as shit. But Stefan and I were talking about this before the podcast starts, that is what makes you a person.
I don't believe in the concept of strengths and weaknesses. Everything has context. I believe we have attributes, we have characteristics that we have to know. And in some contexts, those attributes are strengths, and in sometimes they're weaknesses. So I'll give you the example that I like to use all the time because it's funny, is I am chronically disorganized. I'm very disorganized, right?
You are?
Terribly, yeah. And I've always thought of this as a weakness. Simon, what are your weaknesses? I'm disorganized, right?
Yeah.
So I was at a networking event many years ago, in the early days of my career, and I met a guy and he was like, Simon, you're fantastic. Would love to work with you. Here's my card. Now, if I was organized, I'd be texting from the cab on the way home or emailing the next day when I get to work, of course. But I'm disorganized. I lost the business card almost immediately, right? 2 weeks later, I found the business card at the bottom of a briefcase. And so I emailed him. I said, I don't know if you remember me. We met 2 weeks ago. I'd love to reconnect. And he wanted to work with me more because he thought I was busy. He thought there was such high demand for me.
Yes, that's why it took so long.
Right? That's why it took so long.
Yes.
So is being disorganized a strength or a weakness? The answer is it depends. In that context, it was actually a strength. In different contexts, when somebody says, I need you to get this done by this time, it can be a liability. So what stacking the deck means is putting yourself in situations where your attributes are more likely to reveal themselves as strengths and try and avoid situations where your attributes are more likely to pull you back, right? So stacking the deck is not about cheating. It's about making sure that you're in the right place that make you strong and avoiding the places that make you weak, So, for example, if you're bad at math, don't do jobs that require lots of math. Right?
Right. Yes.
It's I know it sounds trite, but
no, it's true.
It's sometimes that silly, I love working with others. I love working on teams, right? And so when a project comes up, I always make sure that I have a group that I can work with because I know I'll do better work. If I work by myself, it's more stressful and the work is a lower standard. And so I know that about me. I know that I like working with people. So I stack the deck. I try very hard to work at least with one other person or to work on a team to complete a project, right?
Right.
As opposed to leave this to me, I'll get this done by myself. Some people, that is their strength to work by themselves, not me.
Right.
So again, I try and stack the deck by working with people as often as possible when I have difficult things to do.
Make a damn schedule and stick to it. Okay, so what's the rule with the schedule? It's not a bloody prison. That's the first thing that people do wrong. They say, well, I don't like to follow a schedule. It's like, well, what kind of schedule are you setting up? Well, I have to do this, then I have to do this, then I have to do this, and then I just go play video games because who wants to do all these things that I have to do? It's like, wrong. Set the damn schedule up so that you have the day you want. That's the trick. It's like, okay, I've got tomorrow. If I was going to set it up so it was the best possible day I could have, what would it look like? Well, then you schedule that. And obviously there's a bit of responsibility that's going to go along with that, because if you have any sense, one of the things that you're going to insist upon is that at the end of the day, you're not in worse shape than you were than at the beginning of the day, right? Because that's a stupid day. If you have a bunch of those in a row, you just dig, you dig yourself a hole and then you bury yourself in it. It's like, sorry, that's just not a good strategy. 20% of your day has to be responsibility and obligation, or maybe it's more than that, depending on how far behind you are. But even that, you can ask yourself, okay, well, I've got these responsibilities. I have to schedule the damn things in. What's the right ratio of responsibility to reward? And you can ask yourself that just like you'd negotiate with someone who is working for you. You have to negotiate with yourself and not tyrannize yourself, right? And if you hit it even with 50% accuracy, another rule is, well, aim for 51% the next week, or 50.5% for God's sake, or because you're going to hit that position where things start to loop back positively and spiral you upward. Plan a life you'd like to have. Because you know what you're like. You won't do what you're told. You won't do what you tell yourself to do. You must have noticed that. It's like you're a bad employee and a worse boss. You don't know what you want to do, and then when you tell yourself what to do, you don't do it anyways. You should fire yourself and find someone else to beat.
So there's a gospel saying, knock and the door will open. Seek and you will find. Ask and you will receive. And you think, well, no, it can't be that way. It's like, well, it's that way a lot more than you think, because you transform the chaotic potential of the future into actuality with vision. And you might say, well, I don't really make plans. It's like, no, what you're saying is you just make bad plans, because someone who doesn't make a plan, it isn't that they don't make plans, it's that they make unconscious plans, so they're ruled by their own whims, or their plans are so short-term that they don't really count as plans.
Motivation isn't real. Everyone says this. Motivation is not real. Discipline is real. I do not feel like training, but I still train because I'm a disciplined individual. You don't get to go through life only doing the things you feel like doing. So this is down to you, my friend. And listen, you may feel fired up for 10 minutes after this little talk, but you're not going to feel fired up forever. You need to put systems in place. You need to get discipline. You need to get an atmosphere of people around you who are going to keep you accountable and not make it easy for you to continue to be a fucking nobody. And then you're going to fix your life. Otherwise, you're going to stay a nobody.
You're tired. You don't want to work. You want to go to sleep and just relax. You do it anyway.
That is the most basic imperative of the masculine frame, which has been destroyed in real time. They are trying to convince you that you should act how you feel. You should show more of your feelings. If you feel this way, you should show it. If you want to cry, cry. What I'm saying is the reason they're trying to bring out emotionality in you is because of exactly what Myron said. Most of the time, you don't feel like doing the things you're supposed to do. But the true masculine frame throughout history was doing the things they didn't want to do, but they knew they had to do because they had honor and duty. That's what honor and duty means. Do you think the men on the Titanic wanted to stay on the fucking Titanic? No, we're men. We have to stay. We're scared, but we must. It's our duty to let the women and children on the lifeboats. This is masculine duty. A good man controls himself. I have absolute self-control. Emotional control is absolutely and utterly important as a man. I'm saying that you need to understand as a man, there are certain principles under which you act, regardless of how you feel. I can wake up in a terrible mood. I can wake up sad. I can ache. I can have a busy day, stressed, etc. I will complete the same tasks as if I woke up in a fantastic mood. I'll do the same things because how I feel has no bearing on the things I'm going to do with my day, because I have duty to myself and to my bloodline. Because you think there's something wrong with you. You go, well, I lack motivation. I don't have the motivation to go to the gym. Well, here's the newsflash. Neither did I. And I still did it.